Hello everyone, this is part 13 of What If Naruto Was the King of Gambling, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. Man, it's actually getting pretty lonely now that Ma and Pa are gone. Naruto thought as he walked through the empty corridors of the tower. I don't think I wanna let them go the next time His eyes widened, and he jumped back just in time for the ground to be LD by hundreds of paper shurikens. I cannot allow you to go further, a woman said as she materialized in front of Naruto. She had blue hair and a white origami flower in her hair. I see. Akatsuki, huh? Are you Pain? No, I'm Conan, the woman said calmly, getting a nod from Naruto. I see. Well, I don't really have any beef with you, so if you just let me go see Pain, I'd be really grateful. I can't let you do that, Conan said, making Naruto sigh as he took his first sip of sake since he got to MT. Miyaboku. Well, that sucks. That plate, Conan said and gestured for the horned plate on Naruto's sleeve. That's the same plate Jiraiya wears on his headband. Oh, you know Eroa Gigi? Naruto asked with a grin. And he's your sensei, too. Wait, Conan. Oh, you're one of those orphans he trained during the war, aren't you? He told you about that. He's told me all about his life. I'm aspiring to be like him, after all. Naruto said as he took another sip of his sake. You want a drink before we get started? No, thank you. At least you're a little more polite than others, Naruto said as he attached the sake bottle to his hip again. Let's do this then. Conan said nothing. Her feet just broke down into small pieces of paper that flew up and formed wings attached to her shoulder blades. Naruto started laughing. I knew you were an angel. I knew no mere human could be that beautiful. Conan was taken aback by this statement, giving Naruto an opening. He formed some lightning-fast seals before putting his hand to his mouth. Kaiten, Kiryu Enden, Fire Element, Fire Dragon Flame Projectile. He called and blew a jet of fire at Conan, whose eyes widened as the flames enveloped her. It couldn't have been that easy, Naruto thought, only to nod to himself and flip back as thousands of paper blades came flying at him from the ceiling. They're getting closer, he thought as he started hopping backwards, until his back hit a wall. Crap. The last paper blades came flying at him, and he closed his eyes, awaiting death. It never came. When he opened his eyes, he saw that there was one paper blade on each side of his one under each armpit and one right below his dangly bits. He sighed when he saw that it hadn't hit. Thank you, Lady Luck, he thought as he moved away from the wall. I missed, Conan thought to herself, staring at Naruto from her spot 16 yards away from him. In heaven, you did that, Fate said as she turned to Mai, who smiled. I can't help him down there, but I can help him from up here. Go, my boy, Minato shouted as he sat next to Mai. Show that be who's boss. I got 5,000 yo on the blonde, Shinigami said as he placed the money on the table on which the viewing pool was located. I'll take that bet, Fate said and placed 5,000 yo on the table. I'm betting on Origami-chan. Nei-chan. I'm sorry, but I'm betting on her. No god powers, Shinigami said, freezing Fate. Damn. Can I take the bet back? Nope. On Earth, do you honestly think you can beat Pain? Conan asked as she walked towards Naruto. He is a god. Men who claims to be gods usually SS. Naruto said with a shrug. I'm just thinking that I should hurry up the process. Suddenly, another Naruto appeared behind Conan and kicked her in the temple, only for her head to break down into small pieces of paper. You can't even beat me, she said as her head materialized again. That paper is starting to get annoying, Naruto said, dispelling the clone behind Conan. You don't even have a plan of attack, Conan said, getting a shrug from Naruto. I'm not a planner. I just do things and hope for the best, he said and formed a few hand seals. Ninpu, Tutoyu Kyuuyu, flowing oil current, I think. His cheeks puffed out and he leaned his head back, before snapping it forward, releasing a powerful torrent of oil that blasted Conan down the corridor. I don't think that your paper can separate when it's covered in sticky oil, Naruto said as he walked up to Conan, who was laying on the floor. He reached into his coat to take out a match, lighting it by scratching it on the growing stubble under his chin. And you wanna know something interesting about paper, Origami Tenchi? He asked with a grin. He held out the match, so it was over Conan's prone form on the floor, making her eyes widen. It burns. With that, he dropped the match. Conan was immediately engulfed by flames. Her screams followed Naruto down the hall. Wow, that was brutal. In heaven, did he just light that woman on fire? Mai asked with wide eyes. He didn't really have a choice, did he? Minato asked with a raised eyebrow. I mean, she was made of paper and just assimilated every time he tried to hit her. But that was still pretty brutal. I like that boy, Shinigami said with a grin as he stared at the smoking ash that used to be Conan. Back on Earth, Naruto walked down the corridor until it split. Two ways, he murmured and reached into his coat, taking out a coin. Heads, I go right, tails, I go left. He flicked the coin into the air and watched as he spun, before catching it and placing it on the back of his hand. When he lifted his hand, he saw the face of one of the previous fire daimyos. Right it is. -10 minutes later, Naruto walked into a dark room. It was damp and only had one thing in it, a stone casket. He shrugged as he walked up to it, pushing the lid off. Laying in the casket was a man wearing an Akatsuki cloak. He had black hair that hung down so it covered his right eye, and his open eyes had several rings around them. I already knew you'd come, he said calmly as he sat up. Pain, I presume? Naruto asked, getting a nod from the man, who smiled. And you are Uzumaki Naruto, Jinchuriki for the Kyuubi no Yuko. My boss and Konoha were informed of your presence here in Am when Jiraiya-sensei summoned those toads. Are you sure you wish to fight me? I'm positive, Naruto said with a nod as he backed up. Nagato nodded as he got out of the casket. Very well, I'll show you the power of a god. Amuse me, god, Naruto said. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. 10 clones formed around Nagato, all of them staring at him with a bored look. You shouldn't be so calm around me, Nagato said and disappeared, appearing behind one of the Narutos, slamming him into the ground, making him disappear in a puff of smoke. He disappeared again and appeared behind another Naruto, kicking him in the back, causing him to puff away. It continued like that, until only one Naruto was left. You're the real one, he said and took a step forwards. Suddenly, he heard the croaking of a toad and looked down to see a black toad standing in front of him. Expecting something from the toad, he never thought that Naruto would appear in the air in front of him and punt him in the face, sending him flying backwards, crashing into the casket, causing it to shatter. You're good, Nagato said as he got up. The toad was a distraction, wasn't it? He asked and gestured for the toad that was once again below him. Naruto didn't answer. Instead, the toad opened its mouth and out came another Naruto, catching Nagato off guard with an uppercut that sent him backflipping into the air, before slamming down on the ground. No, it wasn't, Naruto said with a grin as the Naruto that had punted Nagato disappeared. Thanks, he told the toad, who nodded before puffing away. Time to get serious, Nagato said as he got up again and went through a string of hand seals. Suten, Mizurappa no Jutsu, water element, violent water wave technique. He called and blew a powerful jet of water out of his mouth, that hit Naruto in the chest so hard, that it passed through him. Naruto suddenly appeared behind Nagato, attempting to deliver an axe kick to his head, but he dodged. Nagato turned to Naruto's previous position to see a piece of the casket with a hole through it. Kawarimi, huh, you're annoying, Naruto said as he got out of his crouch. Funny, I could say the same thing about you. Naruto thought as he tried to come up with a plan. This would have been a lot easier if I just had my cards. I guess I'll have to wing it. Suddenly, Nagato appeared behind him, interrupting his chain of thoughts. Naruto didn't have time to react as a backspin kick connected with his face, but Nagato wasn't done. When he landed, he delivered an uppercut to Naruto's gut with his left hand, followed by elbow Naruto in the back of his head with the right. This is foolish, Naruto-kun, Nagato said as he walked around Naruto's prone form. Why don't you just give up and let us extract the Kyuubi willingly? Naruto coughed with a grin. Why? He asked as he chuckled. Because I don't feel like it. From out of nowhere, he pulled out a kunai and espied it into Nagato's foot, making the Rinnegan use his eyes widen. Naruto followed that up by spinning around on his back before flipping over and delivering a horse kick to Nagato's face, sending him stumbling back, the kunai still in his foot. Nagato reached down and pulled the kunai out. You made me bleed, he said, getting an apologetic grin from Naruto, who jumped back and bit his thumbs before swiping some blood under his eyes. Sorry, but this is a fight, after all, he said and put his hands in a tiger seal. Now it's time for me to get serious. Konoha. Fukasaku perked up and leaned in to whisper in Jiraiya's ear. Jiraiya-chan. Naruto-chan needs me right now. Jump back a distance so you can stand still and cover these guys with jutsus. Jiraiya nodded and jumped on top of a semi-ruined building. This'll do, Shima said, nodding to herself before turning to Fukasaku. Make sure Naruto-chan doesn't get too injured, Pa. I will, Ma. Fukasaku said with a nod before puffing away. You think he'll be alright? Shima asked, getting a nod from Jiraiya. Yeah, he's my grandson, after all. Now, let's help the others. Light up the oil, Ma, he said as he took a deep breath. Will do. Nagato's eyes widened considerably when he saw that Naruto entered Sennin-Mado, just like his sensei. Fukasaku stared at Nagato. So, this is the real pain, huh? Yup. Naruto said with a nod. So, are you ready for the first time we use fusion in battle? I'm ready, Fukasaku said, nodding. How about you? As ready as I can be at the moment. Enough of this, Nagato said and formed a string of hand seals. Suten, Sukuden no Jutsu, water element, water shark projectile technique. He called, causing a column of water to rise from the puddle on the floor and shoot off towards Naruto. Fukasaku sensei. Fan my flames, Naruto said and took a deep breath. Gotcha, Sonny, Fukasaku said and took a deep breath as well. They both snapped their heads forwards, Naruto unleashing a jet of fire, and Fukasaku blowing a strong gust of wind at the flames, making them stronger. Nagato was surprised to see that his technique was stopped by a fire jutsu. He was even more surprised when the fire went through it and headed straight towards him. Outside, the people of Am looked up when they saw that the top of highest of the west towers exploded. That was a weak jutsu, pain. Naruto said calmly. I underestimated you, Nagato said, equally calm. You seem to have done that a lot during this fight. It's strange. You claim to be a god, yet I've so far managed to land a hit on you, make you bleed, and defeat your jutsu. Then what does that make me? A super god? Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow. I'm not amused, Nagato said, making Naruto sigh. Well, we should continue this, he said and disappeared, reappearing behind Nagato, delivering a kick to the back of his head, sending him skidding across the ground. Naruto didn't give Nagato enough time to recover and appeared in front of him again, kicking him in the face. He followed the up by jumping into the air, spinning, and slamming his elbow into Nagato's spine. All Nagato could do was give off a struggled cry of pain. He tried to get up, only for Naruto to flip him over with his foot. Don't try to move. I've severed the third and fifth joint in your spinal column. You're not getting up, he said as he formed a Rasengan in his right hand. This can't happen to me. I am a god. I can't s. And that's why you lost, Naruto said and gestured for Fukasaku with his head. According to what Pa told me, you've been using other boss to do your work. That's why you never could grasp how mortal you really are. And that's why you will s now, he said and slammed his Rasengan into Nagato's chest, turning his heart and lungs into mush and his ribs to dust. Konoha, a minute earlier. This was foolish of you all, Tendu Pain said calmly, standing in front of the prone forms of the Konoha ninjas as a black spike protruded from his and the other's cloak. Kushina was injured badly. She was sporting a wound in her shoulder, and a large gash on her stomach. Jiraiya was standing still on the same place he was earlier, Gakidu Pain standing in front of him with his spike at the ready. Sarutobi had a broken leg and a couple of broken ribs, and he was sure, from the blood bubbles, that one of them was sticking into his lung. Sasuke's arms were snapped and he had a slash wound going from his left shoulder to his right hip. Kakashi's arms were also snapped, and he had one of those damnable spikes sticking through his left lung. Gaara didn't sport any injuries yet. He was just out of chakra, and his automatic defense wasn't functioning anymore. For defying God, you will all S, the Pains said in unison, and were just about to S the Konoha ninjas, when their eyes widened, and their eyes lost their Rinnegan. After that, they just collapsed. Did he win? Jiraiya asked, smiling. He won. He shouted and turned to the watching Konoha ninjas. We need medics, stat. That boy sure is something else. Shima said with a grin. He sure is. Wow. I guess we made it here too late, came a voice from behind Naruto, making him turn around to see Hoshigaki Kisame, Uchiha Itachi and 5 others, all dressed in Akatsuki cloaks. That's good, Naruto said as he went out of his Sennin Mado. The whole Akatsuki is gathered. Now I don't have to hunt you all down. What? You think you can beat us all, you little s? A guy with slicked back, silver hair, wielding a 3-bladed scythe, exclaimed with a smirk. I think so, Naruto said calmly as he reached into his pouch, taking out a scroll. Pa, go back to Eroa-Gigi. Tell him that I might not be coming back. What are you talking about, Naruto-chan? Fukasaku asked with wide eyes. I'm not leaving you. Just do it, please. Naruto said firmly, letting Fukasaku know that he wouldn't take no for an answer. Fukasaku sighed. All right, I'll tell him, he said and disappeared with a poof. That wasn't wise, Naruto-kun. Itachi said, sending away a strong ally such as one of the Toad Elders, he said, making Naruto laugh. If he'd stayed, he probably would have been sped off my shoulder from the speed. Speed. I've been meaning to try this in combat for a while, Naruto said, unrolling the scroll. I just never thought that it would be in my last. Kai. An explosion of smoke erupted from the scroll, sending 3-pronged kunais flying everywhere, filling the entire room. Itachi's eyes widened. These kunais. Naruto appeared in front of Itachi with a bright, yellow flash. He roared and slashed at Itachi with a kunai, only for Itachi to duck and attempt to hit Naruto, but too late. He had already appeared in front of Zetsu, subbing him in the king him instantly. There were several quick flashes, and in the end, Naruto stood above Hiden's severed head, the others laying on the floor. Kakazu had a kunai in each of his hearts, Itachi's T had been slashed open and Kisame's head had been removed from his body. Hey, asshole, that hurt, Hiden shouted, making a panting Naruto growl as he raised his foot. You're annoying, he shouted over Hiden's insults and slammed his foot down on the head, turning it into mush. He slowly walked out of the room, into the corridor. Suddenly, he stopped. Well, that's it, I'm out of chakra, he thought as he fell to his knees. I knew it, I still haven't gotten it right. His vision started fading as he fell forward. He could vaguely feel himself get turned over and opened his eyes to stare into an orange mask. My, Naruto-kun. You are strong. To be able to K every single member of Akatsuki takes skill. Don't worry, I won't K you. You're doing such a good job at it by yourself, the man said with a chuckle. But if you somehow survive this, I will be watching you, and when you get strong enough, I will come for you. Train hard, Naruto-kun, descendant of Senju Hashirama. Then, his vision turned black again. In heaven. No, Mai said as she stared at the pool. No, she shouted and disappeared in a flash of light, only to appear kneeling next to Naruto, who materialized in heaven, laying on his back with his eyes closed. Great job, son, Minato exclaimed with a grin as he stood above him. You kicked their asses. That voice, Naruto thought, feeling that his eyes were too heavy to open. I know that voice. On Earth, Mai used his powers to teleport herself, Naruto and the to Konoha, appearing in the Konoha Square. Konoha, a couple of minutes earlier. Fukasaku appeared on Jiraiya's shoulder, allowing him to move again. Jiraiya grinned at Fukasaku while the medics carried the wounded ninjas away. You did it. I knew he could do it. I knew it, he exclaimed, but his grin dropped when he saw Fukasaku's solemn look. What's wrong? Naruto might not be coming back, Fukasaku said, making Shima's and Jiraiya's eyes widen. What do you mean, Pa? When Naruto had Ked pain, the rest of the Akatsuki appeared. Fukasaku said, making their eyes widen to the size of dinner plates. What? That's not all. Naruto told me to leave and tell you this. But he took out a black scroll as well. When we found him on Mount Miyaboku, we couldn't open that scroll. No. Jiraiya exclaimed as he started running. He hasn't perfected that jutsu yet. It's not ready for combat. He shouted, running past the medics. What are you talking about, Jiraiya-chan? Shima asked, making Jiraiya growl. I never should have taught him that jutsu. What jutsu? The Hiraishin. Jiraiya shouted, making Shima's and Fukasaku's eyes widen. But he hasn't perfected it yet, so it still sucks chakra like that fat pain. Suddenly, as they reached the square, there was a flash of light, and Mai appeared, kneeling next to Naruto. Naruto-kun, she shouted as she patted his cheek. Don't S. You can't S. You just can't. Mai. Jiraiya shouted as he spotted the blonde, who ignored him and put her fingers against Naruto's en, looking for a pulse, only to find none. Oh. No. Mai exclaimed and closed her eyes. I'm gonna have to do it, she thought and placed her hands over Naruto's chest. They started to glow a bright yellow, forcing everyone watching to close their eyes. Mai, do you realize what you're doing? Came a voice in Mai's head. I know what I'm doing, too-san, and I don't care if I lose my position as a god. I will not let the man I love S. The voice sighed. Very well, I won't stop you. In heaven. Get up, Naruto, a voice told Naruto, who suddenly found his eyelids growing lighter, allowing him to open them. He looked up to see a face he immediately recognized as the Yondaime, as well as a man with slicked back, white hair and a goatee. He was wearing a white business suit, and he was smiling down at Naruto. Sit up, my boy, he said, and Naruto obeyed, sitting up and rubbing his head. Where am I? Well, I'm here, Minato said as he crouched down next to Naruto, pointing at his face. It should be obvious, shouldn't it? I'm S. Yep. Another man said, this man with purple skin, white hair and 2 red horns, wearing a white kimono. So, I'm taking her with me, he said and gestured for the redhead that materialized next to him. Hi, Naruto-kun, Kyuubi exclaimed with a grin, only to drop it when she spotted Minato. Asshole. Minato chuckled. You're just pissed because I totally owned your ass. Anyway, my daughter is currently trying to revive you, the white-haired man in the suit said as he gestured for the pool. Naruto got up and looked into it to see. Mai-chan. Yes. The suit man said with a smile. I am Kami, and that is my daughter, Mai, but you might know her better as Lady Luck, he said, making Naruto's eyes widen. What? He asked as he stared at the blonde woman. That's Lady Luck. Yes, but she won't be for long, Kami said as he walked up to the blonde, staring at the pool with him. According to our laws, we're not allowed to show out powers on Earth. She's ignoring that law in order to save you. As punishment for such a crime, a god is stiesped from his or her powers. As such, when you get back, she will be mortal. Hey, son, Minato said as he walked up to Naruto and put a hand on his shoulder. You truly kicked some ass today. By the way, when you get back, tell Kushina that I love her, and that I watch her every day in the shower, he said, making Naruto blush. I didn't need to hear that. But I'll tell her. Thanks. Naruto held up his hand and saw that it was starting to fade away. It's time to go back, Naruto. Kami said calmly. I'll be watching you though. If you do anything to hurt my daughter, you can count on that you'll be receiving my divine punishment. I thought that was against the law. Only if I show my powers on Earth, I can smite you from here. Oh, Naruto said as his whole body had nearly faded away. Well, I'll see you when too-san. Yeah. Take care of your mom and sister for me. I will. On Earth. Mai's hands stopped glowing, and she looked at Naruto's body. Naruto-kun. Can you hear me? Naruto grunted, making Mai smile as the tears flowed down her cheeks. How are you? Naruto slowly raised his hand. He reached into his coat and pulled out his fan, flicking it open and holding it in front of his face. Peachy, he said with a grin, making Mai laugh. Where's Anko and Kurenai? They're in the shelters with Misao. And Kar-san and the others. They're heading for the hospital now. If you'd ked pain just a second later, they'd be S. Mai said, making Naruto give off a weak grin. Well, then I guess I'm glad I didn't give a longer speech, he said and was about to get up, when a sudden pain in his stomach stopped him. I think I'm in need of some medical assistance. And we're gonna have to talk about your father later. Mai was shocked. So, you met him? Yes, I did, my lady. Naruto said with a grin. Ever since that deck of cards saved me from death, I've always known that you had a thing for me. Naruto. Jiraiya said as he walked up to Naruto. You used that jutsu. Sorry, a GG. Naruto said, shocking Jiraiya that he didn't call him Ero a GG. I couldn't think of anything else. Naruto. Tsunade shouted as she arrived at the scene. How are you? Bar-chan. Perfect timing. I think I may be in need of some medical assistance. Naruto said while Fukasaku laughed. You did good, boy. You're worthy of that, he said and pointed at the oil plate on Naruto's sleeve. Oh, what's with the new clothes, Naruto? Jiraiya asked as he noticed that Naruto wore different clothes. My old ones were shredded by a fish, Naruto said, making Jiraiya sweet drop. A fish, the old muncher, Shima said, getting a nod from Jiraiya. Oh, him. He ate my height I ate once. Yeah, can I go to the hospital now? You shouldn't move yet, Tsunade said as her hands started glowing green. I'll heal you here. -1 week later, Naruto sat in his bed in the hospital, bored out of his mind. He was all healed up, but they wouldn't let him go yet. Sasuke walked into the room, his upper body bandaged and his arms in casts. Yo, Naruto, you wanna go for a walk? He asked, making Naruto sigh. I'm forbidden from leaving the bed. The hospital staff doesn't want to chase me down when I escape again. Oh, how's Car-san? Sandaime-sama and Kakashi are healing nicely. Sasuke said. Misao is with Kushina now. I see. Naruto said as he fluffed up his pillow. I'm so bored. When Naruto was put in the hospital, Anko, Kurenai and Mai were there immediately, ready to smother him with affection, even if he just wanted to sleep. Now, Anko and Kurenai were back at work, while he was still in bed, and Mai was at home with Misao, though Misao must have sneaked out. I'm sorry, Sasuke, Naruto suddenly said, making Sasuke raise an eyebrow. What for? Pain came here for me. It's technically my fault you're wounded. Sasuke stared at Naruto for a while, before scoffing. Idiot. What? You're an idiot, Sasuke said as he sat down. This is not your fault. We were the ones who chose to fight. We could have just told him that you weren't here, but we didn't. It's our own fault. You saved us when you decided to investigate I guess I did, Naruto said as he stared down at his hands. I have to go see my mom. Why? I have a message for her, Naruto said and got out of his bed. They can't stop me from walking around inside the hospital, right? I don't think so, Sasuke said, making Naruto grin. Well, let's go then. Kushina's room. So, what's it like? Misao asked as she and Gaara stood next to Kushina's bed. What? Kushina asked, almost sing. Wouldn't you like to know what it's like to S for real? Came Naruto's voice from the doorway. Anarchy. Naruto. Hi, Car-san, Amotu, Gaara. Naruto said, nodding at the three. Car-san, I almost forgot. I have a message for you. Really? From who? Kushina asked, getting a grin from Naruto. From Tu-san. What? Kushina, Misao and Gaara exclaimed in unison. Yup. When I met him, Kami and Shinigami. Shinigami took out the QB and Tu-san told me to tell you something. Well, what is it? Kushina asked, still wide-eyed. He told me to tell you that he loves you and that he watches you every day in the shower. EW. Misao exclaimed. That was more than I needed to know. That's what I said. So, even in death, he's still AL. Kushina said, blushing. Yup. Well, I need to go see Sensei and Kakashi. Naruto said as he turned to leave. You do that. I'll see you later, Anarchy. Alright. On the way to Sarutobi's room, Naruto met a grumbling blonde, who he immediately recognized. Oh, Yugito-san. Why so glum? Why? Yugito asked with a glare. I'll tell you why. I was forced to hide in the shelters while you guys were doing all the fighting. It sucked. All the crying children needing to go to the bathroom. That does suck, Naruto said with a nod. Well, at least you didn't have to get sent to a hospital. Yeah. By the way, what are you doing here? I was just visiting Kakashi-kun. Yugito said, making Naruto raise an eyebrow. Kakashi-kun. Yeah. You didn't know. We're dating. Wow. Naruto said with wide eyes. Well, congratulations on hooking up with a masked L, he said and grinned when Yugito's eye started twitching. See you later, Yugito-san. Sarutobi's room. That boy sure is something else. Sarutobi said with a smile as he looked at Jiraiya, who was standing next to his bed. He was able to take out 9S-ranked criminals by himself at once. He surpassed me by far. He can enter Sennin Mado without any changes, except for his eyes, and he only need one toad on his shoulder for it. He's strong. He might grow to become the strongest ninja in the world, if he masters the Hiraishin. Yeah, Sarutobi said with a nod. I remember when he was a little child that I could knock over with a poke. Now the tables are turned. Talking about me behind my back, Naruto asked as he entered the room. I hope you're not saying anything bad about me. Don't worry, Jiraiya said with a grin. It's only praise. Good, Naruto said with an identical grin on his face. How are you feeling, sensei? Sarutobi chuckled. I may not be as fit as I once was, but it'll take more than a couple of broken ribs, a busted lung and a broke leg to take me down, he said, getting a nod from Naruto. I'm glad to hear that. By the way, Naruto, now that you're taking up the title of Sannin, what will you do? Jiraiya asked, making Naruto raise an eyebrow. Well, I'm going to take over your spy network. I know that, but what are you going to do to pass the time? Jiraiya asked as he took out his Ika tactics. This is what I do when I'm traveling. Well, I'm thinking about writing myself. Naruto said, making Jiraiya's eyes light up with excitement. Not smut though. Damn. I don't know what I'll write yet, but I might write an autobiography. Naruto said as he put a hand on his chin. That sounds good. Kami knows that my life could become a good book. Well, if you're feeling well, sensei, I better get back to bed, before Shizune flips out again. You do that, Naruto. Sarutobi said with a smile. I'll see you guys later. Naruto said as he left the room. He's the destined child. Jiraiya said with a nod. I just know it. -2 days later, Naruto was laying on top of the Hokage monument, thinking as he stared up at the stars. Well, the Akatsuki is no more, but there's still Orochimaru. And who was that masked guy? He just popped in and then disappeared. I'll be watching you, Naruto-kun, descendant of Senju Hashirama. Damn it, why did he have to say that? Now I won't be able to stop thinking about it. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.